issues and reality. Today I have with me the Deputy Coordinator of NET2, Mr. Nari Yosho. The Elite Network for Sustainable Development is a popular CSO, it's a civil society organization in Kwara State that tracks the project, federal and state projects, and basically what they do is to encourage the fight against corruption. And the Elite Networks, the Elite Network for Sustainable Development, NET2, has been around for quite a while. I think, as Yoruba people will say, so I don't think I have to do much introduction. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for having me.
Let's start from here. Recently, your CSO takes a new dimension. You have been doing what I would say that a lot of lawmakers should have been doing. You have been going to the nooks and cranny of the rural areas in the states and pointing out, calling the attention of the governments, both at the local and the state level and the federal level, to some people at the bottom line who seems not to be getting the deserved dividend of democracy when it comes to basic amenities, not even things that comes after basics, when it comes to potable drinking waters, toilets, and even schools, which we know that if the education system is affected, it will affect the products they will come out with at the end of the day. So can you tell us how this thing has been going?
Thank you, my brother. Thank you once again. You see, it is saddening and it is annoying that those we voted for don't know nothing about governance. It is the responsibility of civil society organization to expose and to call attention of state government or federal government to the needs of the people so that they can attend and act accordingly. So what we have been doing is conducting need assessment. So for the people in power, so for them to spring into action and provide basic amenities for all these rural communities. Initially, it is the core objective of the State House of Assembly honorables to good representation. So you can't represent people without knowing what they need and without facilitate a meaningful project that will have impact on their life. So what we do basically is that we initiate a program. When we come on board in 2019, we discover that the majority of Kwara citizens, especially the rural communities, they lack orientation of how to approach their representatives and how to facilitate a project that will have impact on them to their community. They will now initiate a program which is KEM, Citizen Enlightenment and Mobilization Program, KEM. This KEM program, we took it around across the rural community. So where we synthesize communities, the community-based organization, CBO. So now they can engage their representatives, or now they can facilitate meaningful project to their community. At the same time, or now they can track any project execute domiciled in their community. So it is through this that we discover majority of community are drinking water with cow, especially in Moro and as a local government. So it is through this that we discover majority of communities have been lacking drinking water in the last 40 years, 50 years. So what is happening to the representative all this while? So somebody is not someone that has represented them in the State House of Assembly, in the House of Rep, in the Senate. So all these community belong to a constituency one way or the other, and they have been voted for people that have been representing them all this while. But the problem we have with Kwara State Assembly honorable is that the majority of them don't know how to govern. So they know nothing about governance. And what they need to if honorable fail to organize town meeting, there's no how you will understand what your people need. But the moment you organize a town meeting, I want to tell you that the 9 lawmakers that are representing Kwara at the Red Chamber in Abuja, the 3 senators and the 6 House of Rep Honorable, only two of them have organized a town hall meeting since they are being in power.
You're talking about
they are being in office.
You're talking about the current lawmakers.
The current lawmakers. So you understand? So not to talk of the State House of Assembly Honorable, because it is where you organize a town hall meeting so that you will invite the representatives of the constituency that you represented. So they will be coming, so you will rub mind with them. What do you need? What do you lack? These are what I have done. So it is through this, when you relate with them, you rub mind with them, so you will know that so community need water. You know that so community needs school. You will discover that so community need road. So community need electricity. So community need a medical center. So all this and that. So as that, but the moment you do not relate with people that voted for you, so how will you be able to know what they need? How will you be able to facilitate what they need? That is why you see that some lawmakers facilitate project that a meaningful project to their constituents, because you just see that there is a time that one of the former honorable organized facilitate an empowerment program, and we got to know that the empowerment program, it was marred by fake, so it did not have meaningful impact on the people of this constituency. So the problem we have is that our people, the Kwarans, also fail to engage their representative. So that is why we initiate CARE program. This is the Enlightenment and Mobilization program. And I can tell you that we have took the CARE programs across the Kwara Central. We are preparing to took the CARE program to the Kwara. We have also took the CARE program to the Kwara North. As I'm telling you now, we will take the CARE program to the Kwara South. So we initiate this program on radio program. So where people from the 16 local governments calling, telling us these are what we lack, these are what we need, these are our problem. So and we also make this and taking it to the representative. So but the problem we have with all these representatives is that they are not ready to be open, and they are not ready to be advised. Not all of them.
Exactly where I want to go to next. You talk about lawmakers' engagement, that the citizen should engage the lawmakers. And next now, the last time I checked, most of the people you talked about, majority is more local government.
Yeah,
and outside local government. I've seen a lot of videos, I've seen a lot of pictures. It's
pathetic.
It's pathetic. Let's just use that word. But the thing is this: I was born in the capital. To an extent, I should have a chance more than those people. And we all know that you agree with me that we have a culture in this part of the world. If you are a senator, you live in Abuja. And if you are a House of Rep member, you live in Abuja. If you are a House of Assembly member, you live in Ilorin. So
that's where we get you from.
There's this disconnection between the people you represent and the the representatives,
the office
and the people. So now, you as a CSO, how far have you gone in trying to engage the lawmakers on behalf of the people?
Thank you very much. You see, just recently, we uncovered some community in Kwara North that lack drinking water from the stream. Very dirty water. You can't use the water to even wash your car. Not to talk of saying we want to drink. So we share the videos across the Facebook platform and the WhatsApp platform. Some philanthropists, likewise some that I don't like even to mention, that represent these people, they have been getting in touch with us. And they have been promising to act accordingly. So to provide water to those communities. You see, it is pathetic and it is idiotic that in this 21st century, we are still talking about water. We should have moved beyond water, provision of water. We are still talking of road. We are still talking of school. So we are still talking of a health sector. So when are we going to start develop people's quarrels? So these are the problems that we are facing. And in fairness, let me be fair with the new Commissioner for Water Resources. I see him as a grassroots, somebody that's ready to work, so and is ready to act accordingly to all these challenges. So likewise, some State House of Assembly honorable as well. But we have some that know nothing about governance, that's not even ready to take advice, that's not even ready to relate with the people that they represent. So these are the problems that we are having. I want to tell you that the Speaker, the President Speaker of the Assembly, he has done excellently well for his people. He drilled more than 150 boreholes. What about the road at the channel? Our monitoring officer in Barutin local government, the report so that we have gotten from Barutin is impressive. So likewise some honorables, likewise the Deputy Speaker, likewise the Honorable Atako Olabi. So another, so and we still have some senators like that, so that are doing well. But we have some that are not ready to take advice. We also have some that are not relate with their people. So these are the problems that we're having. When you listen to our sensation radio program, if you see how people are calling, if I'm angry, you will see that people are seriously angry. And our radio sensation programs has done a lot well. So he has opened eyes of Kwara. So what we are doing is that when we uncover any community in any local government that lack access to clean and drinkable water, so we always forward to private WhatsApp numbers of their representatives. And as I'm talking to you now, we have already partnered with the Lower Niger River Basin. As I'm talking to you now, there is talk, there is negotiation and some round table discussion being going on now with the new Commissioner for Water Resources, the GM of Water, and the Permanent Secretary, Parliament Ministry of Water. So that is to tell you that they are ready to listen. And at the same time, they are ready to collaborate with NXU to make sure that they ameliorate the sufferings and the challenge of quarrels that are facing all these water problems.
I think the roles of the lawmaker is very limited. It's representation, lawmaking, and oversight functions.
Yes.
But to an extent, a lot of civil society organizations like you has opined that lawmakers have no business executing projects. What they are supposed to do is to facilitate the project and monitor the project.
Yes, execution lies with the executive.
So execution, thank you very much. That's why they are the executives. They are there to execute.
But they have power over the executive.
No, they have the power before the project gets to the executive.
Yes.
So, and then after the project, after the execution, they can still oversight it. Okay, this is what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Thank you very much. What I'm saying is that why don't we take this thing from the executive, from the legislature, just tell them to facilitate and all this execution to be taken of them. Let them represent and oversight. What's the
Thank you.
that?
Do you know that the legislature have power than the executive? Legislature, they are so powerful in the sense that all these commissioners and permanent secretary, they have power to summon them. To summon them to the house. They are what we call matter of public importance. They are what we call motion. At the same time, we have bill. So all these things have processes. So due process must be followed. What the lawmaker need to do is representing his constituency, and we are running a representative democracy. So what the lawmaker needs to do is to raise a matter of public importance. Mr. Speaker, my constituency, the people I represent, they don't have access to clean and drinkable water. These are the challenges they are facing. They don't have good schools. They don't have good health facilities. Our road is bad. Mr. Speaker, I want this honorable house and this thing, so I want to declare a state of emergency, something of that nature. So, Mr. Speaker, so I want this honorable house to invite the commissioner that oversee the project. If it is work, the commissioner of works. And if it is road, the commissioner of works. If it is education, if it is classroom, the commissioner for education. If it is water, the commissioner for water. It's as simple as that. So after that, do you remember that before every ministry will appear before the House Committee to defend their budget, before budget is being passed. So all these House Committee, there are chairman that been assigned in every ministry. We have chairman, House Committee on Water, chairman, House Committee on Education. So when the commissioner for education will appear, the chairman have the power to say, I will not sign this bill if my constituency is not captured.
All right, thank you very much.
If the people are represented,
let's go like this. If going by what we started with, you said that many of the lawmakers seems not to understand what they're doing. It seems not to understand what they're
they don't take governance serious.
And then they are not even ready to listen to advices. But some people will say, as the Yoruba people say, they say,
yes.
So it's normal that they get there and they have to learn in the process. Have you tried to educate them about what they're there for?
We have done this many times. Let me tell you that we invited the two honorable that represent Moro local government in Pastor Assembly to radio dialogue over water problem in their constituency. They did not honor our invitation. So we have many honorables like that. So it is not, we are not blackmailing them. At the same time, we are not trying to turn the people of their constituency against them. So you understand? But what we are doing is, as a civil society organization, we have the power to take the government to court, to sue government, that the government lack to provide good water, so that the government ignore their responsibility, that people are dying, this and this. We also have the power to write against the government. So you understand? So, but we don't want to be seen as an agent of opposition or being passive as a civil organization that is doing something contrary to what is being known for as a civil organization to engage the government on transparency, good governance, and accountability. So that is why we invited them to radio dialogue, and they did not honor our invitation. So we have done all what we could to making sure that the representative to governance to their people. They move the governance close to their people.
All right, thank you. From what you said, let's go like this. Move governance close to government go close to their people.
Yes.
The closest tiers of government to the people is the local government. And at every level we have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Today in Kwara State, there is a sort of rancor when it comes to the issue of local government, which your CSO is involved with this tiers. The case is still in court. Now, if there is a local government, the local government in place, an elected local government in place, there will be councillors representing what?
Yes.
Which will be closer to the people than the one we have at the House of Assembly. So, how far have you gone on this issue of local government, election and everything, things you've got to do? Can you give us a situation report on that?
You see, it is unethical to discuss issues that are already in court. You understand? But we can brief people.
Exactly. That's why I said situation report.
Yes. So you see, this is why we sue Kwara State government over their over not conducting a local government election. Is because The Constitution spell it out, and it is well stated. The Oyo State and the Katsina State is there. You see that Oyo State has conducted the election, so they are now have local government chairman in place. Katsina, they have not conducted elections, so the case is still pending in court. So Lagos State and Ogun, so others.
Even Kaduna State just did theirs last week.
Katsina.
Kaduna State.
Kaduna, yes, just last week. You understand? So because local government close to the people, is the closest tiers of government, as you said, to the people, the grassroots. I want to tell you that if local government is functional, the burden, the pressure will reduce on the state government, because there is division of labor. The recruitment process at the local government level, empowerment program will be going on at the local government level. So a lot of things will be going on. So development and growth will be easily achieved. But in a nation whereby as local government is not functional, so you will see that the issue of banditry and other the insecurity that we have in the country. So the local government that are not, they contributed a lot.
I think the president said that too.
See what I'm saying? So the president also said that, as you said. So we are in court with the Kwara State government, and there is no doubt. Even they know that is a no-go area. We will win because it's well stated in the constitution.
All right. But not quite long ago, you said something about transparency.
Yes.
About this current government, that the government has been fighting corruption silently, and the government has been trying individual transparency. So can you give us a broader view of what that means?
Yes, the government, the Kwara State government are fighting corruption in silence. In fairness to the present government, they initiate social audit, which is a means of allowing civil society organization and the CBO, community-based organization, to get involved, to monitor, to track the project domiciled in their community. This is nothing but a sign of transparency. And fortunately, everybody welcomed it as a welcome development. But in a nation whereby we expose corruption and the state government refused to communicate to us, the state government refused to try those that we expose openly. My brother, is it not his means of fighting corruption in silence? College education in Lorry Road is there. We expose the inflation, the amount that was. The government high school at that time is there, over 40 million naira. The Ilesha Baba Guanara, 751 million naira. Atiki Secondary School, Atiki, over 50 million.
Mr. Osho, let me just say something, please.
All these
when you mention all these monies, sometimes I want to cry because my head will just want, like you say, 40 million, 750 million. We're talking about the state that find it difficult to pay minimum wage. Where the government has said that what they need to pay minimum wage is just 400 million naira. We're talking about 40 million, 750 million in dispute, and to a certain extent, from I can't remember the last time you were at loggerhead with the ministry. That one, that's for you. That's for you.
But you can see Professor Daramaja is now vindicate NXU.
Exactly.
Because if you see his videos on social media, so you will see this there is a secondary school in Taiwo here, United
Secondary School. That was my primary school.
So he also exposed another contractor. So he went to Kayaman day before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. So you can see, and he has been telling them that he will not tolerate shady job being executed by this contractor. So it's so that NSU have been vindicated. by Professor Daramoja.
Okay, exactly. That's
military serious.
That's where I want to head for. Like now that we have a superb chairman that is taking things to the head, doing things the way NSU would have wanted it to be done. Why don't we start over? Like, what would be your advice for the government that the issue of state government, I mean, government high school is still there? Can we just revisit it? And when we have someone like Professor Daramoja to go and check, and the University of Ilorin, Kwara, I mean, the Morsaro Road is still there. The alley that's, I know you understand the road I'm talking about. The road through the Kwara State College of Education, and then other Patiji, the Leisha Guanara Road, and everything. Why don't we have? What would be your advice when we have someone like Professor Daramoja doing that? Can't we do that, a sort of quality assurance in all other sectors to vindicate the government more?
See, our partnership with Kwara State government on social audit is still on. And we have the power to write petition to anti-corruption agency, offer the corruption that we uncover on those projects that we have already exposed. Because we have partnership with EFCC, ICPC, DSS, and others. So understand? So, but we don't want to violate our partners, the agreement.
And I'm saying,
see what I'm saying? So
your modus operandi.
See what I'm saying? So with the state government, so we are just watching them. See what I'm saying? So because we will not tolerate this one whereby the state government are now fighting corruption in silence. And we want to fight corruption, come out.
In this transparent. Thank you very much.
Let the people of Kwara let Kwara know that you are fighting corruption.
Exactly my point. Let me talk about this. None of the contractors praised NSU that you vindicated them of.
Yeah, that is contractor and government high school.
Government high school. Now, which means the bulk of the blame has left the contractor. Because a lot of people, okay, let me give you a clue. In this, in the recent Professor Daramoja unannounced visits that have been exposing some shady jobs done in the economy, in the state government, in the ministries, you, in the wake of others, a lot of people have been shouting and blaming the contractors. But in the case of the government high school, the case is different. The contractor wrote NSU publicly thanking
commend NSU that efforts.
So which means that some contractors are not even afraid of, let me say, monitoring. And then the bulk of the blame left the contractor and went to the ministry. So how do you think we can bridge the gap as a CSO?
You see, thank you, my brother. You see, we don't have issue with contractor, and we don't deal with contractor. We deal with ministry, because it is ministry that we award contracts. And before ministry award contracts, it is the ministry that we assign any road that they wanted to construct, or if it is schools, if it is hospital. So then we assign the road to an engineer, the ministry engineer. So it is the engineer that will let his colleague to decide. So they will prepare bill. So after the bill is being prepared, we have ministry official rates. So the ministry will now assign a site engineer. So the ministry, after the bill has been prepared, so the ministry will calculate, they have official rates. So they will use it to calculate how much they are going to award the contract. Then the tender, the publication on the page of newspaper, so we follow. So after that, then the open bidding will come. Then any contractor that will win the contract, so the ministry will now assign a contractor, a site engineer from the ministry to the contractor, so that we monitor everything that the contractor executes.
Are you in effect saying that all those things you are talking about in this issue of the roads you've tracked and find some discordance?
Ministry has to be blamed.
Thank you very much. That's what I'm saying. You're saying that the ministry are not supposed to leave them alone. Normally, going by due process, they should know everything.
That is how they are been working.
All right.
Ministry are to be blamed because they are a site engineer, so that we monitor everything that the contractor is doing. So it is site engineer that we write about what the contractor is executing. So it will write to comment or whether to reject or whether the ministry not to pay the contractor or whether the ministry to pay the contractor.
All right. I think let's go to another part of the constitution. Conversation today. And this is something NSTRUD is not really known for. NSTRUD, by a lot of people, is known to be a sort of reactive rather than proactive. But lately, you have been doing some reactive job. And I want to talk about this 35 billion naira issue, where you said that a student released my government that if we get this bond, the debt profile of the state will go to a certain level where an average Kwara will be holding a certain amount of money. So, but the government has said that, no, I'm not even talking about the government, but I just want I want you to give us a broader view of that, of the implication of a citizen of the state owing a certain amount of money.
You see, on 35 billion bond that I just mentioned, you discovered that it was after our letter to the Kwara State House of Assembly, so that the state government now release what they want to use the money for. So the letter written to the State House of Assembly by the governor over their intention to borrow 35 billion. They did not release the details of what they want to use.
Even to the legislative arm of the government?
Even to the legislative arm of the government. So it was after we written letter to the Kwara State House Assembly, we forward our letter to the clerk of the house, and we requested them to provide us details of what they want to use the money for, the durations, the interest on the money, then the duration of the years that they will use to pay the money back. So everything. So, but the response we got from the Kwara State House of Assembly, so is that we should reach out to the DMO so that they are in custody and decide responsibility to provide us details of what it. So it was after our letter written to the Kwara State Assembly, so that the state government now come out.
But I think we should not forget the letter you wrote to the Minister of Finance too.
Yes, they said we should. Yes.
And then where the same letter with the same content, but what we hear, what was the public knowledge was that you like the leverage to get informations like that. I think shouldn't you engage the people?
We work with facts and figure.
Shouldn't you engage people on those kind of things? Because I think next time you should just employ me as your NSU spokesperson. Because a lot of people say that I'm speaking too much for NSU today. I just want to let you know that I'm a Kwara.
Yes.
What you said affects me.
Yes.
Very soon, by God's grace, I'll have children. Yes. Automatically, it affects them. Yes. We know of states in this country where they're finding it hard to pay salaries now because they've gotten bonds. I don't want to mention states, but I know of states, and you know of states too. You know how hard it could be, and exactly what I just want to say here is that when I see your engagement with the
state government,
with the ministry, with the House of Assembly, the clerk, when I saw the replies, did it end here? Didn't you go back again and say that, okay, let's now assume that we don't have FOI. Don't you think it's morally right that you just tell the people what you want to use the money you're borrowing in their name for?
Thank you. When there is no freedom of information, it will give room for what? For fake news. That's exactly what is happening. So you see that some Kwaras were being paraded recently for misleading the Kwaras. So they said they are trying to fabricate or spreading fake news. But when government come out, give people Kwaras a labeling environment to ask, to engage those in government. it will not give room for fake news. So we saw this coming before this government come on board. That is why we engaged the previous Kwara State Assembly, headed by Honorable Ali Ahmed. So and we marked pressure on them so that the FYB was passed. So if there is no freedom of information in the state, it will give room for fake news. So it will also make the government to be sweating, because there is a lot of propaganda will be going on, and before you know it, fake news spread like what, my brother? Spread like wildfire. So you understand? So, but when government have already provided an enabling environment for people to ask questions, and there is development in Kwara now. You see, people are now have access to information. The rate of radio stations, the just event, and the online medias that we have in Kwara, you can't compare it in the 20s, even in the 90s. So you can see, so people are now have access to information and social media and everything. So they can use it to spread fake news. But the moment the government have already provided an enabling environment, so if there is argue, so they will be able to hurt what is happening.
Exactly. What you thought is, you kept mentioning freedom of information, and we have Freedom of Information Act at the House of Assembly, which has been there for, if I'm not mistaken, it's over 2 years now.
Yes.
Like
since 2009.
Have you been engaged on the because this is the third time we're
July
talking.
2018.
This is the third time we're talking, and I don't think there has ever been a time I've never asked you about this FY.
FY.
When last were you engaged on the FY?
Actually, we are not relent, and we have done all work to make sure that FY become law in Kwara, and we are not relent at all. We will see that the FY Acts see the light of the day. So and we are hopeful, and there is no time that we appear on radio station, even on interview, online interview, so that people will not talk about the FY. So it's a landmark achievement. So and we know, and we have the belief that the bill will see the light of the day. Only that the Kwara State House of Assembly, this present Kwara State House of Assembly, should not allow themselves to be used. Because whether you like it or not, if you do it well, posterity
will judge you.
Will judge you. If you do it bad,
posterity will still judge you.
Posterity will still judge you. So you see, I'm here now saying that the former Kwara State House of Assembly, Honorable Ali Ahmed, passed the FY, but the present Kwara State House of Assembly killed the FY. So whether my brother, Honorable Saliu Danladi, like it or not, people will still say that Honorable Saliu Danladi killed FYB.
I will not agree with you.
But it is the NXU.
It is the NXU
like that is giving FY oxygen
I think you
to
have,
breathe. So if not, they will have buried FY.
I think you have to relieve me.
FY will have been buried.
I think you have to relieve me of the duty of the spokesperson of NXU for the rest of the program. Let's just now. What I'm saying is that what if the House of Assembly is still consulting, trying to get something right?
Consulting what? We have seen them passing a bill within 3 days. They pass some bill within 30 days. They pass one within 20 days. They pass some bill within 8 days. So what are you doing? So
the last time I checked.
Consulting what?
The last time I checked, your CSO, the NSU, talked about who has the highest number of appeals.
Yes.
There was this rancor about you referring to somebody as the the most performing lawmaker. I don't want to mention this.
Yes.
But the thing is this: can't we just give the House of Assembly that okay, maybe just they take their time to scrutinize every bill they pass. That's why they take time, and that's why they've not been able to pass a lot of bills. Maybe they take time so that there will not be a relapse.
What time? FYB was passed May 2019. it was transferred to the governor for assent on June 22, 2019. The governor returned the bid back to the Constitutional Assembly just for some amendments in July. Since then,
for the timeline and the fine, if I could remember, that was just the timeline and the fine.
Changing 7 days to 14 days.
Yes.
Then changing 100,000 to
500,000.
So they just kept it without doing nothing. And he has been there. So what time again did they need to consult?
But you
what are you consulting? So you can see it's political. It's political.
Sir, I'm not a politician, but I don't agree. The House of Assembly has been doing really well.
Only that they have refused to expose the politics behind it to the Kwara.
Can you expose the politics behind it?
We don't know. We don't know.
But you're the only one
that come out and tell us.
But you're the only one that gives oxygen to the bill.
Yes, the oxygen, they have already killed the bill. So just to bury.
You're just there trying to
help
the
but
bill.
Our advocacy on social media and the Association of Kwara State Online Media happen. So with your assistance and the Kwara and the FM in Kwara State, so in combination with our advocacy, is the one that is still keeping the bill to breathe a little bit.
Okay.
So if not, the bill will have been buried.
Alright. Let me ask this for the last time. Have you ever been consulted as a major CSO in Kwara? Have you ever been consulted by this current House of Assembly on the issue of FY bill?
We have met with the Speaker once.
And then what did he tell you?
The Speaker told us that they are still working on it.
They are still working on it. Okay.
So that's why I said let's come out and tell Kwara the politics behind still working on FY.
Okay. Have you tried to engage the Speaker after you met him?
You see, we are still in talking time. So when you talk, we only enjoy
when you talk, did you
Kwara State Online
when you
Media.
talk, let me talk here. You have relieved me of the spokesperson of NN2. Let me just talk. When you talk with the Speaker, do you mention FY bill to him?
Yes, the meeting is strictly about the FY.
Alright.
What is keeping the FY? Why is FY is not see the light of the day?
Okay.
Even the last time we met the Speaker, I went there with a copy of FY Act in Nigeria. Then the Speaker saw it in my hand. I like this FY. I said, take it, Mr. Speaker. You can still go through it.
See what I said? So you've even given him a copy?
A copy of the FYB.
You are confusing me now. I don't even know where to stay.
How? How?
I want my NSU spokesperson job back.
No problem.
Alright, thank you very much, Mr. Oshazi. It has always been great talking to you. You've always been it lively, and I hope Kwarans know what you're doing.
It is my
every Kwaran know what NN2 is doing. And I hope very soon all this FYB. I want to urge, in the name of Just Even Online Television, I want to urge I hope the Kwara State House of Assembly very soon, in no time, will work on this FYB. Thank you very much, Mr. Osho. We hope we will invite you some other time. You grace our occasion. Thank you very much, our viewers. I remain myself of the Quadri here from Just Even Online TV. Do have a lovely day.
Thank you.